Hey guys, well, the day has arrived. Other than the stands, the model is finished. So I wanted to give you a look at it, and then the next video I do will be of the stand and that construction, and then it'll be of all of it put completely together. I was able to get all the decals installed, or laid on. That was a 2-day process because of how many there were. There's a full sheet of decals. And you can see you got all the escape pod numbers in there, got the little phaser strip ID marks on there, and then various bridge identification marks. If you look on the back spine, you can see the traditional Star Trek Federation colors along with other identification marks just all along the ship. There are nearly about 100 decals put on this thing. You have the transporter emitters out right there. Let's see if I can get it. It won't really show up on the camera, but it's actually metallic in real life. And then you've got the shuttle bay entrance platform leading to the shuttle bay. Got some on the back. See if it'll show it. It's not doing it. It says Voyager. There we go. Voyager, and then the registration number. And it goes the same all along the bottom. Okay, all along the bottom of the ship. Now the part you haven't seen yet is well, there's the front deflector dish housing. Got the decals on there, but then I got the bottom. Came out looking really well. I'm really happy with it. Got all the decals around it, as you can see, but it just looks great. Okay, so now I'll show you guys how it works. So let me put you here for a second. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack open, I'm going to take off the back panel, attach the plug on the inside. I have it set for the landing gear, and then I'm going to plug in the battery. And then put the panel back on. Okay. Here she sits. So you can see you got the strobe on the top, the navigation lights. On these newer ones, you know, the Voyager, Enterprise D, and Enterprise E, the red and green navigation lights did not blink. On the Enterprise E, you know, they did stuff differently, but on the Voyager, they did not blink. They were constantly solid on. So here's that one. I'm trying to get it to focus for you guys. There we go. You can see the impulse engines came out looking great. The back observation port for the shuttle bay is awesome. And it's very difficult to get the shuttles, but you can see them a little bit. You can also see on the top I have the red and green, but then I also have a white navigation flasher in the middle, along with the 2 lights that light up the manhole. This way, you can see the impulse engine intake ports all lit up. You got the light shining down on the registry. Obviously the blue and red on the nacelles. That's how it's supposed to come out. And then the deflector dish and the torpedo launchers. So it's a little difficult because of the blue saturating light, but you can kind of see some grid lines in there. And I was able to paint all the individual grid lines to give it more of a natural model look. But then when you have the center deflector dish in there, it just looks awesome. There's the Aero docking port with the lower observation hatches. Shows you all along the side of the secondary hull. And this is what's cool about Voyager. You want to go warp, lift up the engines, and there she goes. So it's actually kind of cool when it sits there like that. It gives it a little bit more of a 3-dimensional look. And then when you go back to impulse, you just lower the engines back down. Okay? So that's what we're looking at when you're running on battery power. I'm going to show you guys something else. so if I flip it up underneath, you can see there are the landing gear housings. Okay, so when you want this to be in landed mode, it's here. You'll take one of the ejection ports to the warp nacelle, warp engines, and you plop that right in place to cover that up. Then find my magnet. There it is. Then you take this magnet, well, a magnet, it won't necessarily be this one. You can see because it's not quite powerful enough. I gotta get another one that's a little more powerful. Let's see. Not quite powerful. And I knew that. This magnet's for something else. So what will happen is you'll take them and the magnet will pull off the landing gear housing. Like that. Once that's done, you're going to take the landing gear and you're going to install them. Now, I've made this so that the gear will only go in the hole it's supposed to go in, so you don't ever have to worry about, oh, did I cross the circuits? It's only going to fit in its corresponding hole, and that's it. Once the landing gear's in, set her down. And there she is. Now, the stand is not done, but it will sit on a stand. And this is where it gets kind of interesting. So I'll put you like that for a second. So what's going to happen is, you'll pull off this top cover, you're going to unplug the battery. Then you're going to connect the landing gear to internal power. Okay? And you're going to put it back together. Then here's a mock-up. This is what this, this is a general idea of what the stand will be like. You'll have main power and then the negative. And what's going to happen is you're going to take it and you're just going to set it down. I'm going to get these in there a little more. And it comes on. Okay, so pick it up, set it down. That way, when it's on the stand, you can run it off wall power and you're not constantly draining your battery, which is removable. I just have it sitting in there out of ease, but it's removable so you can charge it outside the model. When it dies, you can replace it. Just very easily removable. So this is how it's going to look when it sits on the stand. I'll have some spots light shining up onto it. It'll have some scenery back here. This is bismuth. It's a natural forming crystal. It's extremely dense, but when you get it to its melting point at about 400 to 500 degrees and you start to let it cool, these crystals form naturally. So I've got a couple of those I'm going to incorporate into the stand. I have all of these quartz crystals, which I'm going to grind and make little clusters out of them and have light shine through them. Those will be on the stand. Then the stand's going to have about 100 to 150-ish trees everywhere, and the trees are only going to be, so here's an inch. They're only going to be about 3/4 of an inch tall to match to scale. And then I also finished the arrow. I'm not lighting it up. As you can see, there's white right there. I filled it up and white in the back. I filled it with my crystal clear, and it's not fully dry or cured yet. So I'm just going to wait on that. But I got bottom panel plunks in place. And that's what will cover the battery. And it's just held in by magnets. So when you need to change them, pull it off, change batteries. And and that's what the bottom will look like, and it'll sit on the bottom of the ship. Alright guys, well that's what we've got so far. Here are the landing gear, covers, here's the arrow. This is what we have so far. I mean, this ship was a lot of work, but I could not have, it could not have come out better. I was so very happy with how this has come out. And, it's one of those, I'm very proud of it. And once it gets on the stand, it's really going to pop. The camera is able to see it a little better because when it's running on wall power, it's running off 9 volts. So blue, for instance, still oversaturates, but not as bad because it's at a much lower voltage. There we go. And I like 9 volt, but the smallest battery I could find that has the right milliamp hour is a 11.1 volts, which is why it's a little brighter when it runs on battery. That doesn't do anything, it just makes the lights brighter. These lights are rated really to whatever voltage I want, as long as I have the correct resistance on it. So I just prefer no higher than 12 because it's easier to work with. Alright guys, well I just wanted to give you a look-see. I'll start building the stand tomorrow. That should go relatively fast. Building the trees will take the longest. But yeah, just wanted to give you an update. Alright guys, hope you're enjoying the build. Take care.